Okay, students, welcome to the fifth session of the data structures. Let's have a quick recap of previous session. We saw array-based implementation of list ADT. So what are the operations that can be done on an array? We saw with the example and with the routine also. Routine means a small function, a small set of code to execute a particular program. That is called as routine, otherwise called as subroutine or functions. All have the same meaning. So we saw the routine for inserting an element in an array, deleting an element from an array, searching an element, updating an element, and then traversing. That means visiting all the elements in the array and printing the elements one by one. I hope you are clear with this array-based implementation. I told on some disadvantages in array-based implementation. Especially the important disadvantages, insertion and deletion will take more time. So to overcome that disadvantage, we go with linked list implementation of particular list ADT or stack or anything, queue. Normally, array-based implementation we will use for small set of numbers, but for a large set, while you're inserting and deleting particular elements means it will take more time. It will consume more time. The time complexity will be more. Obviously, the computation speed will get reduced. So we go with linked list implementation. Before that, let me start this day with a small puzzle. I told this puzzle briefly in the last session. Just have a quick look at it. I need some answers. Either you can unmute your mic or you can put it in chat. We have two integer arrays, A and B. It's related to array only. No more special things. Just you have to think out of box and you have to tell the solution for it. We have two arrays. I have given an example, A array and B array, and a target value 46. You have to find a pair of numbers in such a way that you are going to pick the elements from each array. If you add those elements, you have to get this target value. Got it? Again, you can read the slide. Determine whether there is a pair of numbers where one number is taken from A and other from B. You have to add together to get the sum of V. If you are returning that particular value, your function should return true. Else, your function should return false. Are you able to get the question? Now, what logic we will normally use to get this solution? It can be any practical solution. It can be a different solution. Yes.
Using two for loops.
Yes.
One for loop inside other for loop, keeping one value as fixed and iterating one value and checking each value whether it is 46 or not. If yes, it will print true. Else, it will move to the other number and check the complete array.
Okay, Venkat. Which element you are for this example? Which element you will keep as fixed element? Just for example.
I will use first for loop. In a for loop, I will be 0, ma'am.
Yes.
So it will take 10, and I will check with all elements in D. If it satisfies the condition, that is, if the number is equal to 46, then I will print true.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now in this condition, yes, you are right, Venkat. But this is the very practical, a very naive solution. I'll tell this. So you are comparing 10 with 1. It's not equal. 10 with 2, 10 with 3, 10 with 9, 10 with 6 and 5. Yes, you are adding. But in this first iteration itself, you are not getting the answer. So what you will do?
Next iteration, ma'am.
Yeah, you will increment that I loop. Yes, I equal to 1.
Yes, ma'am.
So 20 added with 1, 20 added with 2. So you are not getting the answer. Then you are moving to the third one. 30 added with 1, 2, 3, etc. Not getting the answer. Then you are incrementing 40 added with 1, 2, 3, 9, etc. The last one 40 added with 6. You are getting the answer. So at this point, your function will return true. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, Venkat. But what about the time complexity here? Suppose my target value is 65 or anything, 46 itself. It's taking these many iterations. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
So for 65, how many iterations I need? 6 times you are incrementing this loop. 6 times you are comparing with all the elements in B array. So n square.
36.
36. Yes, good. 36. So Normally, your time complexity for this solution is O of n square. Okay. A good Venkat Sriram. This is the very practical solution we all common people will think. Yes, hereafter think in a different way. Any other solution from you, students? Any other different solution you have to reduce the time complexity? Let's
we
be
can
quick.
see the tens place, ma'am.
Tens place, okay. Sujita, yes. After continue. What's the next step to do, Sujita? So you are seeing the 10th place. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then so 40 is there. You are going to compare. But this will work out for few numbers only, as you told. Sometimes you may have 39 here. You may have 7 here. That will lead to 46 also. At that time, we can't select only the 10th position. Okay. So the any other solution? A good try, Sujita. For all these type of questions are asked in interviews in many multinational companies. You have to think a little creative and little out of box. You have two arrays. Think of two elements itself. I have one element 4, another element 8. My result will be 12. Yes, all these three are known. So my result is 12. Why can't I subtract the 12 with any of the particular element? 12 minus 4, whether I am getting 8. So my logic will get enter. Or 12 minus 8, you will get 4. Yes. So that is the another way. That is the way to reduce the time complexity. I will tell. So you are taking this A array and you are taking the result. You are going to subtract. Either you can take this A array as a fixer or B array. 46 minus 10. You have to check whether it is present in B array. It's not there. 46 minus 20. 26 is not there. 46 minus 30. Not there. 46 minus 40. 6. This some element 6 is there in the array. So you can retrieve that element, and these are the two elements that are used to get the particular result. This is the logic. I explained this coding here. You can have a look at it. But from your point, your answer is correct. But hereafter, you have to think from data structures point of view. How we are going to reduce the time complexity like that. So first I am using for loop. I equal to 0, I less than a dot length. I am getting the length of the array. Because up to that position, I have to traverse. Then I am using NV or value, net value equal to V minus A of I. V is the result that we know, 46. V is the 46 value. So V minus A of I. We know two numbers, we know the added result. Yes, just you are going to do the reverse thing. You are subtracting that result with any of the numbers. If you are getting that another number, your function will return true value. So in another for loop, j equal to 0, you are checking the condition. If b of j equal to net value, because I have subtracted and I have stored in another value, net value. So if b of j equal to 46 minus 10, 36 not equal to 1. Okay, so now again I am incrementing 46 minus 20. Like that you have to do, you will get the solution in a simple way. But the previous one we often discuss is it will take O of n square notation, time complexity, big O. Worst case time complexity is big O of n square. But here you are reducing the time to n. Yes, the normal technique that we often use to implement is called as the brute force method. Okay, but hereafter think out of box and you have to reduce the time complexity to the best. Just a small puzzle. Hereafter think in this way. Okay, so we move on to today's session. Today we are going to see about the linked list implementation of list ADP. Linked list is nothing but it contains a series of nodes. List is what? It's a sequence of nodes. The list can be implemented either using array or linked list. Linked list means all the lists are connected. In the first class itself, I told all the list will be connected. All the elements in the list will be connected to one another. Each element is called as node. We can represent it as node. So a linked list will have a collection of n number of nodes. Each node will have two fields, a data field and the next pointer field. Look at the slide carefully. If you want, I can put a slideshow also, or if it is comfortable, you can go with, we can go with this. If anyone put it in chat, somebody else unmute and you can tell. So here in linked list, each node will have two position, two parts, okay, two components. First is the data part and the next is the next pointer. I hope you remember this one. What's this next pointer? Next pointer, it points to the address of the next node. Just I mentioned only one node. In the forthcoming slides, you will see some other examples. Yes. So here I have mentioned. So normally a node contains a data and a next pointer. The next pointer points to the address of the next node. So you will be having node 2. Node 2 will also have what? Data and the next pointer. The next pointer points to the next element. Suppose in my linked list, I have only 2 elements, means what will be the next pointer of the second node? It will point to null. That is mentioned in the third point. The pointer of last node is pointed to null. Okay. So each node has element and the pointer to each successor node. Successor means the next node. So insertion and deletion are easily performed. That is the main advantage of linked list. But that is the challenge in array-based implementation. So only we are using linked list. To overcome that issue in the array-based implementation, we move on with linked list implementation, because we can easily go to that particular node. We can do insertion and deletion here. Yes, this is a simple representation of a node. It may be asked in 2 marks or any MCQ like that. What a node in linked list contains? It contains a data field and the address field, or the data and the next pointer. Anything you can tell. Data is the actual value of the node, and address is not the address of that particular node, address of the next node. So with respect to linked list, we have 3 types: singly linked list, doubly linked list, and then circular linked list. Normally, in general, we move on with singly and doubly, but there is another type. Using the singly and doubly, we can implement the third list called as circular linked list. So singly linked list means it has only one link field. In the name itself, you have some meaning. Single means one. One link will be there. One link only will be there for each node. So as told, just look at this one, data and the next pointer. So this 10 is the data. This is the pointer pointing to whom? Pointing to 20. What is the address of 20? 700. 700 will be stored in the address field of the element 10. Listen carefully. If you are confused with these things, you can't get the things which we are going to deal in detail, because hereafter we are going to see these, all these implementation only with respect to list. Yes. So here you are having the element 10 and the next pointer, it is not pointing the current address. And the below, that is below the nodes, I have mentioned some values. What are those values? 550, 700, 1000 and 800 are the address of those nodes. Because for any variable or any function or any constant, there will be some memory allocated. Yes, that is the default thing that will happen in any program. If you are declaring a constant variable, if you are using some variable, means the memory will be allocated. Similarly, I'm going to insert a particular element in a list using linked list, means the node means assume it as a certain portion in the memory. Yes, imagine like all the nodes will have some memory. So that memory address is given there. 550 is the memory of 10. 700 is the memory of 20. So 10 pointing to 20. Yes, 20 address is what? 700. 700 will be the next pointer of 10. Similarly, 20 is the data element. What is this next field? It is pointing to 30. What is the address of 30? 1000. 1000 will be present here. Yes, this next pointer value. Similarly, the third element is 30. It is pointing to what? Its the next pointer is having the value 800. That means what? you have to fetch the address of 800. At 800, what element is there? 40. Finally, the address of the last node is pointing to what? Null. It means that it is the last element in the list. Now, someone else told the answer. Where the address of 10 will be stored? Any quick answer? Either in chat or you can tell. Where the address of 10 will be stored? Because address of 20 stored in what? 10. Address of 30 stored in 20. Address of 40 stored in 80. Where the address of 10 will be present? Head. Yes. Head node, head pointer or head. Yes, very good. I asked in one MCQ also. So that is called as a head. Head pointer or first node head. Normally we denote it as head. So because 10 should be present somewhere, there should be some memory location for this element also. This memory is what? 550. That 550 is stored in some address. It's mentioned in other slide. Here it's there. Okay. So this is called a singly linked list. I am forwarding in one direction only. The linked list is pointing in one direction. That is, it points only to the successor nodes, next nodes. That is the singly linked list. The second type of linked list is the doubly linked list. Here each node contains two links. That means forward link denoted by F link. These are all the short notations we are using. It's not mandatory. You can have a link 1, link 2 like that also. So each node contains two links, forward link denoted by F link and backward link denoted by B link. That means what is the advantage in doubly linked list? By looking at this diagram itself, we can see. We can easily search the previous node and the next node of any particular element. Yes, we can get the predecessor. Predecessor means the previous element or the successor easily. So insertion and deletion will be more easier when compared to singly linked list. So that is called as the doubly linked list. The third one is your circular linked list. Circular means the linked list is not in a chain-like fashion. Yes, it's not in a linear fashion. The last node will be connected to the first node. Then it forms a circle. Yes, assume that you are standing in a straight line. You 10 students are standing in a straight line. That is a list, normal list, a linear list, singly linked list we can see. But if the first student we have connected to second to third, like that. You are having some rope like that, assume. Suppose if the 10th student is connected to, or if you are joining the hands, first student hand joined with second joined with third joined with fourth. Finally, 10th student will be there. If the 10th student hands is joined with the first student, then it forms a circle. Yes, that is called a circular linked list. This circular linked list can be implemented either using singly linked list or using doubly linked list. So this is the diagram for representing circular linked list using singly linked list. Yes, we know this is the singly linked list. Just you are connecting 40 to what? 10. That means the address of any pointer won't point to null. Because in a singly link, normally in a singly linked list, if address of any node next pointer points to null, means that is the last element. There is no last element in the circular list, circular linked list. So the last element next pointer, this 40 next pointer will be connected where? To be connected to 10. So that is the circular linked list. You see the diagram? As told, head node or header. Here it is mentioned as header. We can have it as header or head node. Because header is pointing to the first element. First pointing to 20. 20 pointing to 30. 30 should not point to null. 30 pointing to whom? It should contain address only. Yes. So the address is pointing to the first node. Just ignore the backward link. This first field, ignore this first field because we are mentioning the singly linked list only. There won't be this field. So just you are having only two fields, data and the forward link. Ignore this one. Now, We are seeing the doubly linked list, doubly linked circular list. Hope you have some, you notice the difference. Yes, this is in a linear fashion. That is, it's in one direction only. It's in the forward direction, but the last node connected to first node. But in doubly linked list, as told earlier, we have two links, forward link and the backward link. The forward link of last node pointing to whom? Pointing to first node. Then it forms a circle. Yes. Similarly, the backward link of the first node should point to whom? Should point to the last. In a normal doubly link, what will happen? The forward link of the first node, the forward link of the first node will be pointing to the header node. The backward link of the, backward link, because the backward is the first one. The backward link of the first node will be pointing to header node. The forward link of the last node will be pointing to null. That denotes the normal doubly linked list. But if it is pointing to first node, means it forms a chain circle-like structure. So that is your circular linked list, especially doubly linked circular list. Got it? So these are the types we will discuss in detail after seeing the singly linked list. We are going to see the operations with respect to singly linked list. Your first unit will cover all these things only. Singly, what are the how we are going to implement linked list implementation in singly linked list, doubly linked list, and then circular linked list, then applications of list. With this, the first unit will get over. So now, before getting into routines, normally in a linked list, what are the operations we can do? We can insert element in an array, we can delete an element, we can find the element. In the previous session I told, find next, find previous, etc. So all those things we are going to see now. Yes, this before getting into linked list routines or linked list implementation, you must know this one. What is a structure? A structure is a data type. It's a collection of what? Different data types. Yes, in a singly linked list, we have what? A data and a pointer. That means a data can be an integer value, but the pointer should be a what? It should be a pointer data type. Yes, it should point to the address of the some other variable. That is a normal definition for pointer. So I can't use both integer data types or both float data types. Only the element can be the integer or float. But the next one is the pointer. So it should be the address. So it must be a pointer variable. So we are having combination of two data types. For that, you have to use the structure. You have to declare a structure for a particular node. If I'm using 10 number of nodes, means I can have the collection. Using the structure, you have to create objects. Yes, that I have mentioned in the last part of the slide. Hope you are viewing the PPT. We will discuss the first things later. Struct node. Yes, that is the syntax for creating a structure. Struct keyword, then structure name. Here node is the structure name. You can have any name also, but normally we are representing each element in the list as what? Each component in the list as what? Node. So mention it as node. Struct node. Then inside the structure, what are the variables I have declared? Element of integer data type. And then next. Next means it's a pointer. The pointer is of type position. Position means that is a pointer variable. Got it? Next is a pointer variable. So I am mentioning these two things inside a structure. Because you have to mention a particular position while inserting or deleting or for doing any other operation. So I mentioned it as the data type itself. You might cross through one data type called type definition. It's an important thing in C. We can generate any number of data types, any number of user defined data types. Yes. Now come see the first part of the slides. Because without knowing this, you can't see all these things. I have declared a structure called node. It contains two parts, element and the next field. Next is a pointer. So it's of data type position, or you can have pointer next like that. In implementation, you will see like this: struct node, int a, position star p, pointer star next, like that. You will have some implementation. Now come to the first part of the declarations. I have declared struct node. That node is defined here. Then type def struct node star list. List means my entire linked list. It may have only one element. It may have 4 elements, 4 nodes. It may have 10 nodes, etc. Normally, we will initialize the array int a of 10 equal to like that, or I will declare the array. Similarly, I am going to declare the list. My linked list name is list of type what node, because in each node it should have what 2 parts, element and the pointer. So only I have mentioned like this. Then one more definition: type def struct node star position. What's that position? It points to the next field, address field. We can't give it a simple data type, integer or float or anything. So it's a, you have to mention it using star. Then these are the functions we are going to discuss one by one. Yes, int is last of. Is last is the function. Is last means what? I'm going to retrieve the last element in the function. I mean in the list. How can I see the last element in the list? A simple thing. Just one word only you have to write. How can I determine a particular element? Yes, the address of that particular node. I mean the next field. The next pointer, if it points to null, then it means it is the last element. Got it? Is empty. I want to check whether my list is having nodes or not. Whether my list is empty or not. For that, how can I check if the list equal to null? Yes, list element equal to, or node equal to null. Then it denotes is empty. These functions will return true. Or if it is, if the condition is not satisfied, means it will return false. Then third function is position find of. I'm going to use find operation. Yes, find int x. X is the element, list L in the particular list. I must have some list, then only I can find. Without knowing the list, I can't find any element. So find, you must have 2 arguments inside the find function. Which element you are going to find, where you are going to find. Yes. Now come to that, skip this one. Then we'll complete all the find operations. Position find previous. One more thing you have to note, this find function, it return position data type. That means it will return the particular position. Position means what? Next. I have declared the variable called as next. Then find previous. Find previous means what? For a particular node, what is the previous predecessor node? I can check in a linked list. Then find next. I want to find the successor element of a particular element, x in the given list L. Yes, these are the operations with respect to find. Then a common operation, insert and delete. Insert function, these 3 things, 2 arguments you must pass. What element you are going to insert, where you are going to insert. These 2 inputs are compulsorily needed. But for delete function, either 1 argument or you can give 2 arguments. That means I have mentioned void delete of int x comma list here. That means which element I am going to delete. Yes, in a particular list. But there is one more function called as delete list. Delete list means it will delete each and every node in the list one by one. That is called as delete list. That is the difference between delete and delete list. For delete function, you must specify the element. For delete list, you specify only the list. The elements will be deleted one by one using the for loop. Okay. Now let's see the. So these are functions we are going to see. Okay. We will move to these simple functions, then we'll come to that insert function. Now we are going to check for an empty list. Empty list means what? There won't be any node at all. Yes, Normally, the header node points to the first node in your list. I hope you are clear with this node. A head node contains the address of what? Address of the first element. If there is no element at all in the list, means obviously what the head node will point? It points to null. That is mentioned here. Header is denoted by L. Or you can have it as head itself. If head arrow mark next, head arrow next equal to null, return 1. My function is returning true. It means what? Return 1 means return true. It means that the given list is empty. Suppose if I have some element, only one element in my list, 10 as an element. So what? So if L next equal to null, header next not equal to null, because header is pointing to this one. Header is assume that you are having only one element 10. Ignore all the other elements. Header is pointing to one element. So header next not equal to null. It means that there is some element in the list. A very simple thing, it may be asked in MCQ also. If there may be some space, you have to fill that blank space. Or you will be given some options. If head next equal to null or head next not equal to null, if node 1 equal to null, like that, any other options may be asked. So this is the simple logic. My function name is isEmpty. It is returning integer type. It is returning either value 1 or 0. If it is 1 means my list is empty. If it is 0 means list is non-empty. It has some nodes. For what I am checking for which list? For the list L. Yes. So if L next equal to null, that is my header. Denotes the empty list. Got it? These are small simple routines we will see now. All routines will be simple if you listen carefully. Now we can check whether the current position is the last position in the particular list. Yes, I want to check whether the current position in the list is the last position. How can I say a particular element as the last position? If its next pointer pointing to null, because each node has two values, a data and the next pointer. The next pointer will point to the next element normally. If there is no more element, means the next pointer will point to null only. So that is mentioned in the routine. Look at the diagram carefully. I am having a list. This L is nothing but your header node. It's not necessary that it should be in the top only. Okay. That is above the 10 element. It can be connected normally like this also. L always denotes the head, or H denotes the head, or you can have it as head itself, HEAD. It's for our understanding only, for user purpose only. So my array list starts with 10. It does not start with L. How many elements I have in my list? 3 elements. Don't say urgently 4 elements are there. Okay. These small tactics you have to know. I have 3 elements in my list. The address of 10 is stored in the head node, pointed as L. Yes, this is my entire list denoted as L. So the address of 10 pointing to 20. The address node in 20 pointing to 25. The address node of 25 pointing to null. It means that is the last element. You can retrieve that. You can return the function as 1. So go to that routine. If P next, P means what position? Current position. That particular position. If P next equal to null, then return 1. Assume your P is in 10. Now in the diagram, P denotes 25. Assume that P denotes 10. Whether this condition will be satisfied? No. Because P pointing to 10, P next equal to null. Is it null? No. It is pointing to some other node. So return 0. Or you can get it in a for loop. You can go to that next element. Next element is 20. P next equal to null? No. Because the next pointer is pointing to 25. Then this 25. Again, the P arrow mark next equal to null. Here only the condition gets satisfied. So 25 is your last element. Okay. This is a simple routine. Or simple snippet. You can call it as snippet. A small piece of code. A small set of code to do a particular operation. So this is a snippet to do the to find the last element in the particular last node in the list. Okay. Another thing is to find previous. Okay, we will see it later. Now we are going to see the previous element. It's not only for doubly linked list, we can check for singly linked list also. But for doubly linked list, it will be more easier. It will be easier. Yes, because we have two links, forward link and backward link. So each node will point to its predecessor and successor also. So it will be easier when compared to single linked list. But let's see the routine for singly linked list itself. We are seeing all these operations with respect to singly linked list only. Okay. So I'm going to find the previous element. As told, there are three things we can do with respect to find. I can find a particular element, or I can find the previous element for a particular node, or I can find the next node for a particular node. Yes. Suppose in your class, you are having, you are maintaining your class database. I found a rank, or I found a CGPA 7.56, something 7.5 like that. I want to find the student who is having less than 7.5. That is your previous node. I want to find the one student who is having greater than 7.5. That is your next node. Yes, for these things we are using the data structures. We are implementing this data structure in all domains, in all simple and complex applications. Without data structures, we can't implement any single program. At any part, any data structure will come, either list or array or stack or queue, hashing, so many techniques are there. Yes. So this is the function, find previous. It returns what? Position, because I want to find the position of the previous element. I'm not returning whether it is true or false. So only the return type for the find previous is what? Position. Look at it carefully. Position, find previous. I am going to find the previous element in the particular position. For what? For a given element X, the given list L. I have declared a variable P of type what? Position, because the current position is pointing. So here in the diagram, it's P is pointing to 10. Then there is an assignment statement, P equal to L. L means what? My list. My list always starts with the first node. So you are going to check a condition, while P next not equal to null. Listen carefully. You may feel difficult to follow, but if you practice, it will be easier. Just have a note, have note and pen. Try to take, write all these things and you interpret on your own. Don't simply look at the slides. Yes. If P next, while P next not equal to null, we are going to check two conditions, and logical and. P next element not equal to X. P arrow next arrow element. That means what? The next element of P not equal to X. Then you have to go to the next element. I'll explain. What is the current position P? P pointing to 10. Yes, 10 element. Element is 10. This pointer is pointing to 20. So P arrow mark next. P arrow mark next means the pointer field, the second field. Is it equal to null here? No, not equal to null. Condition is true. And P arrow next arrow element not equal to X. What is X here? I am going to
20, ma'am.
It is 20. Is not equal to X. But here it is equal to X. So you have to return P. You can't execute the while condition is not satisfied. So it will come outside, it will return P. What is the P position? 10. So that is my previous element for the given element X. For the element 20, I want to find the previous element. If both the conditions are true only, it will go to the next element. If any condition is false means, because logical and operation, both the conditions should be true. Then only the while loop statement will get executed. Otherwise, it will come outside that while loop. Here I didn't mention open close bracket. So obviously it means what? If the condition is true means it will go to the next statement. Else it will go to the second one, return P statement. Got it? So this is the routine to find the previous element. For this 20, the element returned is what? 10. Okay. Return the position. Yes. Similar thing, we are going to find the next element for a given element. You have to know the element also. For which element, you must specify the next element. For a given element, it can be 10 or 20 or 25. For the same example I am mentioning, I am writing the routine. For 20, what I have to do, I have to find the next element 25. You have to return 25. The same logic only, but the small difference is what? Here I have assigned the position as P equal to L. Here, same logic. While condition, nothing different in that. So, first I am assigning P equal to L next. L arrow next means what? Next itself is a pointer. So, it return the position. The pointer field always return the position of a particular node. So, P equal to L arrow mark next. A list. My list is denoted as L. Yes, so that is denoted as P. So I moved from 10 to 20. Currently my position is in 20. While P next not equal to null. P arrow next not equal to null. Yes. And P arrow element not equal to X. So what will happen? We go to the next element. Yes. Got it? You have to check both the conditions. For the element 20, what is my next element? 25. Because P arrow mark next not equal to null. And P arrow element not equal to X. So I'm going to, I have to go to the next element and you have to print that element. This is my P arrow next. P is your position, X is your element. Don't get confused. L is your element. Yes. So this is the routine to find the next element in the list. We have many more routines. We will stop with this. We will go with the insertion and deletion operation in the next class. Yes. Hope you all understand these routines, simple routines. Is last, is null, find previous, find next. I didn't mention find previous and find next. So these are all the operations that can be done on a linked list. Previously, we saw the types. There are 3 types of linked list: singly linked list, doubly linked list, and circular linked list. Hope you all understand. If you have any queries, you can mail me or you can get the number and can WhatsApp me or you put it in chat also during the